Hey there. This video won't be like our usual videos. We here at Flank just wanted to take a second and say thank you for 1,000 subscribers.
Thanks, man.
We're just getting started, and making these videos is a ton of fun, and it's making me a better investor. Which leads me to the point of this video. Other than a genuine thank you, we want to let you know why we're here and what we're trying to build. Flank's mission is to tangibly reduce the wealth gap by empowering individual investors and restoring stakeholder capitalism. Take a look at this chart. You can see that wealth is not distributed equally in the US, a big problem that most of us are aware of. But when you actually break down the different tranches of that wealth inequality, you can see that the biggest differentiating factor is stock and mutual fund ownership. So much so that the top 1% has more equity ownership than the following 20%. And it only gets worse as you move down the wealth ladder. So the biggest thing that separates the top 1% from the top 20% to the rest of our country is stock ownership. And so the very first way we are trying to tangibly reduce the wealth gap is by making intelligent investing less boring, intimidating, difficult, and lonely. Some of you may correctly point out that most people who actively pick stocks actually don't outperform the S&P 500. So if our goal is to tangibly reduce the wealth gap, then shouldn't we just be preaching a passive investing approach by telling people to invest in low-cost ETFs? And that wouldn't be wrong. We think that about 70 to 90% of people shouldn't pick stocks. We have future plans to try and include that demographic in our mission. But at first, we're starting niche. We're going to start with those who are wanting, willing, and able to practice and learn the art and science of investing. The markets have never been more accessible, but they've also never been more toxic, with objectively bad incentives and advice running rampant. Wall Street Bets showed us the power of individual investors united. Now it's time to evolve that to the next level. Flank will be a souped-up version of Wall Street Bets. It'll include a social platform, but it'll also be the first purpose-built, long-term fundamental investing platform specifically built for Buffett-style investors. And if you're willing to put in the work and enjoy studying businesses, investing can change your life. It changed mine. I started investing over 10 years ago and frankly have made hundreds of thousands of dollars in the market. In fact, when I left my job in 2019, my portfolio had grown large enough that I could comfortably take a gap year and pursue a lifelong mission of mine, to try and circumnavigate the globe by motorcycle. I ended up launching a trip in March of 2020, which turned out to literally be the worst time in about 100 years to try to do that.
I am officially declaring a national emergency.
And so I ended up spending about a year on the road, traveling through the US and Canada. I got to visit most of our nation's national parks. It was incredible and is definitely where I got the early seeds for the idea of Flank. And I don't think I'm a special investor. Although I have outperformed the market, I actually think that with a little bit of discipline, it's actually possible for most people to do this. The S&P 500 is a formidable opponent. Most professionals don't outperform, but we think that's due to a bunch of other factors, including the short-term requirements to keep other people's money in their funds and the fees associated with the portfolio manager. Even if I hadn't beaten the market, I still wouldn't consider all the time that I spent studying the market and businesses as a waste of time. And there are 3 reasons for that. First, passive investing is boring. You just dollar cost average into the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ and wait, no study required. It's kind of like eating rice and beans for every meal. And I don't think it would have given me the spending discipline that I had in my early 20s. I got obsessed with investing and basically tried to save every extra dollar I could so I could keep shoveling it into the companies that I was studying the crap out of and took positions in. And secondly, I think there's a lot of value to learning the skill of Buffett-style investing outside of the financial gains. Although the financial gains are definitely our favorite part. And the main skill that Buffett-style investing teaches is capital allocation. Capital allocation cannot really be taught outside of actually doing it. And it's way lower stakes to take a part of your discretionary spending and use it to work on the skill of capital allocation than to do it when you're actually in a capital allocator's position, like being CEO of a company. If you want to move into any sort of business leadership position or high finance, such as venture capital, private equity, etc., then capital allocation will be a paramount skill to hone. And thirdly, investing in businesses restores stakeholder capitalism, which is the latter portion of our mission statement. ETFs, index and mutual funds, are wonderful ways to make money, but they also put an entity between you, the shareholder, and the company. The lack of scrutiny from individual investors allows companies to get away with things that normally shareholders wouldn't tolerate. The easiest example of this is CEO compensation. but we think it also touches every point of environmental and societal impact and corporate governance. Flink is a fintech company, and the whole idea of fintech companies are about making it easier to move money from point A to point B. Flink is here to make it easier to directly invest in companies that you know and love, and through your research, have the confidence in their long-term performance. So that's what we're trying to build. We have big, ambitious, and audacious goals, and we're so glad you're here early with us. Please feel free to check out the link to our Discord in the description below if you want real-time updates on where we are with building the platform, and be sure to sign up for our beta. We'll catch you next time.